morning and welcome to Kantipur TV. Today you're watching Kantipur Yoga, and as a episode match, I will be breaking down the do's and the don'ts of certain asana practices, and this is for anybody who considers themselves not flexible or not very flexible. You can practice these asanas because I will teach you how to do these asanas. Today I will show you the modifications of how to do the asana and how to not do the asana if you consider yourself not flexible. Our yoga, we consider it for everybody and all body types. You can even practice yoga if you are disabled, or you are on a wheelchair, or you have knee issues, joint pain, anything, doesn't matter. We can practice these asanas irrespective of our limitations with our physical body, emotional health and mental health. Now coming into our asana practice, basic asana practice, we will start with our meditation or breath work. Our breath work and meditation math, keep in mind, if you're just starting to meditate, if you're just starting to work on your breath work, it's going to be very hard to be still. So what you're going to do is, mind a job dine. You're going to count your breath coming in and you're going to count your breath going out. So so the mind can be focused on the counting, your mind can also be focused on your breath, and your body can do its thing. So comfortable seated position ma auni, whatever position works for you the best, whatever position ma tapako khutta will not go to sleep, you can choose that asana and you can sit over there. In case tapailai यसरी बस्न गाह्रो हुन्छ भने चाहिँ you can also take a cushion below your bum, so you halka elevate हुन्छ, so it's easier to sit into a seated position like this. Few deep breaths just to ground your breath into the practice. You can breathe through the mouth. Inhale only from your nose. Exhale from the mouth. Once you're comfortable and your mind is a little calmer, then switch to only the nose. Lips lai chai band garne. If you're struggling with anxiety and if you're struggling with anxious thoughts, कि तपाईको mind एकदम overactive छ भने चाहिँ, you can also keep your eyes open. So that helps you relieve your mind. किन आँखा बन्द गर्ने बेला चाहिँ also visually चाहिँ हाम्रो mind ले on our tricks खेल्छ. So you can keep your eyes open, and then your mind can focus onto things in front of you. एउटा कुरा चाहिँ के गर्ने, you will inhale, you will count for 7 counts. You will exhale, you will count for 7 counts. You will hold your empty lungs sas naferikina chai for 2 counts. So we'll inhale in. Exhaling. Now inhaling again. You breath practice garde gayo huncha, you will start to notice now you are able to sit calm and still, because aba chai hamro mind le euta काम payo and hamro dimag now is completely focused on your breath and is completely focused on this job. So this is how you can start meditating or start sitting with yourself as a beginner level practicing person. Now coming into our butterfly asana, hamle chai yo asana lai chai ekdam धेरै in yoga classes. This is called the butterfly pose, also called the Baddha Kona Asana. यता होल्ड गर्ने. अब यसमा चाहिँ के गर्ने, actively knees लाई चाहिँ तल push गर्ने, glutes लाई चाहिँ squeeze गर्ने. Now this is your asana. Shoulders are back, chest is बाहिर, so your ढाड can be very straight. घाटीलाई चाहिँ एकदम neutral राख्ने. No stress on the shoulders, no stress on your neck. You can hold this for 5 counts, 10 counts, whatever feels comfortable. You can give it gentle movements. हामीले कति क्लासेसहरुमा पनि हेर्छ that people are moving their knees like this in the butterfly pose. You can do it. All this does is this loosens up the hip joint just a little bit. This helps you open up and coordinate with your thigh muscles and your hip. So after you're done with this asana, we will move into the pigeon pose. Pigeon pose ma chai kasari jane from this butterfly pose. We will now take the left leg behind, keep the right leg into the front. Now what does a pigeon pose look like? The pigeon pose is also called Kapot Asana. Kapot Asana means Kapot is pigeon and asana is the pose. Now how do you know your khutta is placed in the correct position? You will be seated down with your hips. So your hips will be pushing down like this and you will be in the middle. Now if in case tapai feel bhairacha bhane chai yesto bhairacha bhane chai, that means your hips are maybe a little tight, your back could be a little tight, your glute muscles could be a little tight. Variation chai ke garna sakcha is you can come up, you can place a block underneath the bum or the pelvis, so this supports your hips up. Now khutta lai chai ke गर्ने is you can also place your leg half bent like that, just in case if you're in the beginner level, or if you can come down here यहाँ बसेर चाहिँ तर खुट्टा चाहिँ पछाडी सिधा भएर छैन भने चाहिँ what you can do is you can keep the leg just a little bent and sit up. This also does the same job without putting stress on the body, so you can choose this variation also. अझै relaxing बनाउनु छ भने चाहिँ we can also lean down into the front. Again, keep in mind both the shoulders will be on the same level. There is one great way to measure how your shoulders are in on the middle is when you take your hands to the front. If your right hand is halka agadi compared to the left hand, that means euta shoulder and euta hip chai is a little bit more forward than the other. What you can do is you can bring both your palms together on the same level, and now you will also see your shoulders will be doing the same thing. Elbows theka shoulders ko muni, palms and thumbs in one line. When you need to exit the pigeon pose, you can slowly bring your palms back up, walk them behind towards the thighs, and gently start to come up. Come back into your butterfly pose. Repeat the same thing on the other side, and that will be your pigeon pose. Now coming up in to the Lotus Asana. The Lotus pose, this is your Lotus pose. But कतिजनाले चाहिँ यो आसना गर्न सक्दैन, that's because your quad muscles are tight, your hips could be tight, your hip flexors could be tight, glutes could be tight, lower back ले चाहिँ हाम्रो खुट्टा नै तान्न दिँदैन, so that could be a problem. What you can do if you cannot reach the full and final position of a lotus, what you can do is you can stay up in the half lotus. Now make sure if you're practicing your lotus with the left leg on top, you also do the right side. That is in the asana practice. Traditionally say we only put one leg up into the lotus and then the other leg comes down. Okay, so that's the traditional version of the Lotus Asana. Second and third tip to keep in mind is whenever you are sitting up straight, watch my back. Okay, so I will show you sideways. If this is my lotus pose, when you're meditating, the shoulders look like this. That means your spine is not active. You are not mindfully sitting onto your asana. What you can do is you can inhale in from your nose, sit up straight. So your back like say tuck in garne, squeeze garne, bum like say relax ne rakhne. Shoulders come up nice and broad. You can take them up, roll them behind and drop down. Automatically chest bahira auncha. This is a great posture for your spine. Palms like say you can either form a mudra and put it on your feet or your legs, or what you can just do is keep your palms onto the thighs. Comfortable cha bhane chai lap ma pani rakhya huncha. This is the position of any seated asana practice. Now moving in to the downward facing dog. This is a very popular asana practice. Downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Asana, is a great practice that people do in our yoga asanas. Surya Namaskars पनि धेरै use हुन्छ. So what I will do is I will break it down for you. कसरी गर्ने and कसरी चाहिँ नगर्ने. So when you come up into your down dog, one of the best ways to take a great measurement for your down dog is to try and come up from your child's pose. So if you're beginning to practice yoga and you don't know कहाँ हात राख्ने, कहाँ खुट्टा राख्ने, कतिको मेजरमेन्ट ठिक छ, what are my hips doing, टन्नै कन्फ्युजन छ भने चाहिँ you can try this. You can come up into your child's pose, the Bal Asana. खुट्टालाई चाहिँ खोल्ने, knees outside to the side, toes लाई चाहिँ hips को मुनि राख्ने. Now bring your chest and belly in between the thighs. बिस्तारै तल आउने. Now मेरो toes जहाँ छ म त्यही राख्छु मेरो toes लाई, मेरो palms लाई चाहिँ हल्का अगाडि push गर्दै I will bring my forehead down to the floor. We will keep our palms, जहाँ छ palms लाई त्यही राख्ने. Slowly come up onto the knees toes lai chai halka kholera, we will start coming up into your down dog. This is the perfect line that you can form with your down dog. This helps you correct the measurement. Your palms र खुट्टाको gap चाहिँ ठ्याक्क मिल्छ when you pose into the downward dog like this. अब downward dog मा चाहिँ heels लाई चाहिँ तल touch गर्ने. This is still your downward dog. This is just easing out any tension that you put onto your legs, hamstrings and calf. Or you can just keep your knees bent and hips up. Gently you can come down again. When you're ready, gently what you will do is to come down into the Ashtanga Asana. You will take your elbows inside. Elbows will stay very close to your ribs. You will come down, you will bend over your wrist agadi jane. Now you will slowly keep the hips mathi tira, gently coming down. Now triceps, biceps and shoulders lai chai use garera gently gliding up into your cobra. Now this is a very advanced level cobra. If your back hurts, you might want to open up your hips just a little bit taki lower back ma chai halka strain kam huncha. You can also stay here into the baby cobra. Yahanबाट down dog kasari aune. There are two ways. One, you can use your knees, one you cannot use your knees. So when you use your knees chai bistari uthera chai knees ma aune. Pachi downward facing dog ma jane. Or what you can do is cobra ma aune pheri. Now you can use your ankles and toes. So gently engage your core, squeeze your glute muscles. Mathi aune bela chai inhale and now exhale. Now that was your breakdown of the downward facing dog from the cobra and downward facing dog alone on its own. So what can happen is your hamstring and calf muscles can be very tight, even your hips can be very tight. You can feel your lower back is also a little tense. That could come from lack of stretching. So what we can do in our lunge is, suppose this is my lunge. So you can come up into your lunge from various positions, but I will choose to come up from my tabletop today. So this is my tabletop. I look like a table. Knees are below my hips. Wrists are below my shoulders. This is a great tabletop position. What you're not going to do in your tabletop is wrist will be beyond your shoulders. Now do you see this line say milirako chaina? Now that means there is more stress than needed. So I will gently bring my wrist down below my shoulders. I will bring my hip on the distance of my knees and my knees at the distance of my hips. Ankles pani will follow the knees, so there's a nice distance in between each limb. Now what you can do to come into the lunge as a beginner is you can extend, you can shift your body weight to the left side when you extend the right leg out. You see my heels, push your heels away. This is one way you can hold, or you can point your toes. Either way you can choose, point your toes or flex your heel. Keep the leg active. Specifically when you're trying to lunge forward, try and keep your heel active. So slowly what you will do is you will start to get this leg into the front. Squeeze. Let one arm come up so you create space in between your chest. Now step this leg into the front, right next to your palms. This is your lunge. Now to take the lunge up one step, you can curl this leg behind, slowly come up. This is your lunge. You have now perfected your lunge. Now you understand how it works. Now another little hack. If you're a woman and your chest starts to bother you because your knee will hurt your chest quite a lot, what you can do is you can take the leg just a little bit outside. So now your leg is on the side of the rib and not directly on your chest. Now this will help you ease out the tension. And now what you can do is again, pachadiko khutta can come up, back into your lunge. This can also be a practice if you have a little bit of a bigger chest, or your chest could be a problem, or if you have a stomach, that could also be a problem. What happens is, this part is pressing in to your belly and abdomen, and now this will not be able to touch down. So what you can do is create a little hack for yourself. Take this leg outside. Now there is plenty of space for your belly and your chest. Now you can come down here. This is a modification. Stay here. Now you can curl your toes, and this is your lunge, Anjani Asana. Now you can play around with the body weight. Now you can do whatever you like. So that is the breakdown of this asana. Now coming into the same asana from the downward facing dog is going to look very different. So wherever you are, come back up onto your tabletop again. Now we prep for the downward facing dog. So downward facing dog mat say, we will slowly come back up. This is the downward dog. Again, heels like say halka movement dine. What you can do now, you can shift your body weight to the right side. We'll work with the left leg. So you'll take your left leg up as much as you want, slowly coming in, crunching into the front, gently opening up the leg into the front, and slowly, a little bit of a swinging motion. You will follow, and then you will step the leg into the front. You can also lift your hand if you want and come down. This is your Anjani Asana, your lunge. You can also bring your leg down. There is rest body on your thigh. Or you can stay up here. Again, if you want to put your palms down, you can. If you choose to stay up on your fingertips, say, body weight ma focus garne. Your body weight should not be on your fingers. Fingers le support ko lai matrai tala choira ho. That is your lunge. Now what you can also do is downward dog bata aunda heri chai yaha adkyo bhane chai yaha adkyo agadi gaera chaina khutta. You can take your leg and you can gently lift it into the front, and this is again your lunge. Now to end your asana practice, you will come back into your child's pose, slowly knees down again. However wide you would like to place it, jati wide cha त्यति धेरै hips lai relax huncha. You can just chill out, slowly come back in, shoulders lai चाहिँ widely खोल्ने, किनकि we don't want to stress the neck inside. You want to open up the shoulders to the side, and you can relax into your child's pose. And that was a little breakdown for any beginner level person who is recently starting to practice yoga and is still very confused about kasari ke गर्ने, कहाँ जाने, कुन आसनाबाट चाहिँ कुन गर्ने. Everything is confusing. There is too much information available on YouTube, on Google. Different classes teach different styles. There can be a lot of confusion. So what you can do is you can use these basics for any asana practice, no matter which style you practice. As a beginner, when you do not know what to do on your mat, you can try these and see how they work for you. Eventually body halka flexible hunday jन्छ, which is a byproduct of yoga. So if you practice yoga, you automatically become flexible. That is not a requirement to practice yoga. Yoga गरेर चाहिँ मान्छे हल्का flexible हुन्छ. You practice yoga and you become flexible. You do not need to be flexible to practice yoga. So you need to remember that one thing. And if you think in your mind that you need to be flexible to start practicing asanas, that is not the requirement. So you can take these asana practices specifically meant for a not flexible yogi, and you can start practicing from today. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I will be back again tomorrow with another episode of what to do and what not to do, and I hope you enjoy that too.